Ladies and gentlemen, you've spent too much of your life waiting for people to understand you, to value you, to treat you the way you deserve. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Life doesn't change when they change. Life changes when you do. The moment you stop chasing validation and start investing in your own growth, something remarkable happens. People treat you differently, opportunities unfold, and situations that once drained you simply fade away. This speech is not about ignoring the world. It's about shifting the power back into your hands. It's about learning that when you focus on becoming the highest version of yourself, you don't have to beg for respect, it arrives naturally. Stay until the end, because what I'm about to share will reveal how focusing on yourself is not selfish. It's the exact medicine that transforms your life from the inside out. The truth is, your energy is the currency you spend every single day. But unlike money, you can't simply earn more of it in a moment. You have to protect it, choose where it goes, and decide who or what is worthy of it. Most people walk through life unconsciously handing out their energy to anyone who demands it. They pour it into arguments that go nowhere, relationships that drain them, and the endless chase for approval from people who don't even see their worth. This is why life feels exhausting, why the days blur together, and why progress feels slow or non-existent. When you focus your energy outward, constantly checking if you're liked, accepted, or validated, you end up living someone else's story. Every time you shape your choices to please another person, you chip away at your own identity. The problem isn't that people are cruel or ungrateful. The problem is that you've allowed your attention to become scattered. And attention, once scattered, weakens the very force that could change your life. Imagine your mind like a garden. If you spend all your time watering weeds, doubts, fears, other people's criticisms, you shouldn't be surprised when those weeds take over. But if you tend to your own soil, plant seeds of purpose, self-discipline, and self-respect, something very different grows. You stop being at the mercy of what's happening out there and start influencing what's happening in here. That shift is everything. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean becoming selfish or cold. It means remembering that the quality of your inner state shapes the quality of your outer world. Think about it. When you're mentally drained, your decisions reflect it. You settle for less, procrastinate on your goals, and tolerate things that you shouldn't. But when you're mentally sharp, emotionally steady, and deeply connected to who you are, your decisions come from a place of clarity and strength, and that kind of energy changes how the world responds to you. People can sense when you're grounded in yourself. They can tell when you're not desperate for approval, when you're not bending over backward to be liked. That's why the very act of focusing on yourself is magnetic. It draws the right people toward you and repels the wrong ones without you needing to say a single word. You become a mirror that reflects back what you've cultivated internally. If you've cultivated self-respect, you'll notice others treat you with more respect. If you've cultivated peace, you'll find yourself in fewer conflicts. But this doesn't happen by accident. It requires deliberate action. You have to decide where your energy will go each day and be ruthless about protecting it. This means setting boundaries, not out of spite, but out of wisdom. It means limiting how much you scroll through social media, comparing your life to strangers. It means learning to walk away from conversations and situations that are nothing more than emotional black holes. Over time, you'll notice something subtle but powerful. Life begins to reorganize itself around your new energy. The opportunities that align with your growth will start showing up, while the distractions that once consumed you will lose their grip. You won't have to fight to make life better. The better life will meet you where you are. Energy is like water. It flows wherever you direct it. If you keep pouring it into the cracks of other people's approval or the sinkholes of unworthy situations, you'll always feel empty. But if you channel it into your growth, your learning, your discipline, and your vision, you'll see life respond in ways you never thought possible. In the end, focusing on yourself is not just a lifestyle choice, it's a survival skill. The world will always have demands, distractions, and dramas waiting to pull you away from your center. Your job is to make sure you never give them more power than they deserve. Because the moment you reclaim your energy, you reclaim your life. And when that happens, everything, absolutely everything, begins to change. Respect is not something you ask for, it's something you radiate. It comes from a quiet but unshakable awareness of your own worth. When you truly value yourself, you begin to carry yourself differently. Your posture changes, your tone changes, and even the way you make decisions shifts. You no longer move through life from a place of scarcity, trying to prove your worth to others. Instead, you operate from the deep knowing that your value is already there, with or without anyone's approval. The reason self-respect attracts respect from others is because people take cues from how you treat yourself. If you constantly belittle yourself, overextend yourself, or tolerate disrespect without consequence, you send a silent message that you don't expect better. And most people, consciously or unconsciously, will respond to that energy accordingly. On the other hand, when you protect your boundaries, speak with clarity, and refuse to compromise your integrity, you teach others that you're not available for anything less than mutual respect. Raising your standards is a key part of this. It's not about arrogance or thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about deciding what you will and will not allow into your life. This means refusing to entertain relationships that drain you, jobs that exploit you, or habits that diminish your well-being. Every time you make a choice that honors your worth, you reinforce that worth. And the more you do it, the more the outside world mirrors it back to you. Consider how people are drawn to those who exude confidence. It's not because confidence is loud or flashy, it's because it's rare. Most people are deeply insecure, searching for external validation to feel whole. But when they encounter someone who has built self-respect from within, it feels different. It feels stable, grounded, and trustworthy. That's why opportunities, friendships, and even love seem to find people who respect themselves. They naturally become magnets for quality connections. This doesn't mean that everyone will treat you well once you respect yourself. In fact, some will resent it. They will be uncomfortable because your self-respect forces them to confront their own lack of it. They may test your boundaries, try to guilt you, or even walk away. And that's fine, because the ones who leave were never meant to thrive in your space. Your goal is not to please everyone. Your goal is to align yourself with those who value what you value. Developing self-respect also requires being consistent with your own word. It's easy to demand respect from others while breaking promises to yourself. But the truth is, you can't expect the world to treat you better than you treat yourself. If you say you're going to pursue a goal, follow through. If you decide to stop tolerating a certain behavior, stand firm when it appears again. Every small act of integrity strengthens the foundation of your self-respect. And here's something most people overlook. Respect is felt before it's spoken. You don't need to announce it or demand it. It's in the way you walk into a room without shrinking. It's in the way you walk into a room without shrinking. It's in the way you decline what doesn't align with you without over-explaining. It's in the way you hold eye contact, not as a challenge, but as a reflection of your self-assurance. When you respect yourself, you stop chasing acceptance. You no longer mold yourself into shapes that fit other people's expectations. Instead, you stand as you are, and those who resonate with your truth naturally gravitate toward you. And as this happens, your life begins to shift, not through force, but through alignment. In the end, self-respect is the silent architect of your relationships, your opportunities, and your future. The moment you decide that your worth is non-negotiable, you change the terms of how the world interacts with you. And from that point on, every connection, every decision, every chapter of your life is built on the solid ground of knowing exactly who you are and what you deserve. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many believe it means not caring, becoming distant, or turning cold toward life and people. But real detachment is none of those things. It's not about abandoning love or connection. It's about releasing the tight grip of needing things to be a certain way in order for you to feel whole. It's freedom from the constant chase, the endless tug-of-war for approval, and the emotional dependency on how others respond to you. When you're attached to outcomes or to the approval of others, your happiness is held hostage. You feel high when they praise you and low when they ignore you. Your mood, your energy, even your sense of self becomes a reflection of someone else's choices rather than your own inner stability. In that state, you give away your power without even realizing it. But detachment hands that power back to you. To detach means to recognize that you are complete as you are, and that nothing outside of you needs to validate your worth. You can still care, you can still give, but you no longer place your identity in the hands of anyone else. This shift is powerful because when you stop clinging to people, situations, or results, you allow life to flow naturally. You stop forcing, and in doing so, you become far more attractive, not just to people, but to opportunities and experiences that align with you. Think of how you feel around someone who is desperate for your approval. There's tension in their energy, a sense that they're performing or bending themselves to fit your expectations. That energy repels. Now think of someone who is calm, confident, and at ease, whether you agree with them or not. That energy draws you in. Detachment creates that second kind of presence. It's magnetic because it's free. One of the great truths about detachment is that it naturally filters your environment. People who only stay when they can control you or feed off your dependency will fall away. At first, this can feel like loss, but it's actually liberation. What remains are people who value you for who you are, not for what you give them to soothe their ego. The same applies to opportunities. When you're no longer grasping at anything that comes along, you leave room for the right things to reach you. Detachment also transforms the way you handle challenges. Without it, you might fight reality, resisting what is and exhausting yourself in the process. But with detachment, you see life more clearly. You understand that not everything is meant to stay. Not every door is meant to open, and not every person is meant to walk with you to the end. This acceptance allows you to move forward without bitterness or regret. To cultivate detachment, you must begin by observing your own patterns. Notice when your sense of peace rises and falls based on someone else's behavior. Notice when you're clinging to an idea, a timeline, or a result because you fear what will happen if you don't get it. In those moments, pause. Ask yourself, if I let go of needing this, would I still be okay? More often than not, the answer is yes. Over time, detachment becomes second nature. You still engage with life fully, but without chains. You can love deeply without losing yourself, give generously without emptying your soul, and commit to goals without becoming enslaved to their outcomes. This is where real strength lies, not in controlling life, but in trusting yourself enough to let it unfold. And here's the beauty. The less you need to hold on, the more you receive. Detachment doesn't create distance from life. It invites life in. It allows people to approach you without pressure, opportunities to appear without force, and growth to happen without resistance. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that you are whole, with or without the things you once thought you couldn't live without. The outside world is often just a reflection of the inner one. We tend to believe that change must begin out there, new job, new relationship, new city, and while those things can spark fresh energy, they rarely create lasting transformation unless something within us shifts first. Internal change is the true starting point. When you change your thoughts, your beliefs, and your habits, you alter the lens through which you see life. And when your perception changes, the world you experience changes with it. It's like tuning a radio. If you keep the dial set to a station of doubt, fear, and self-criticism, you'll hear static, no matter how loudly you turn up the volume. But when you adjust the frequency, replacing old, limiting beliefs with ones that empower and uplift, you start picking up a clearer signal. The people you meet, the choices you make, even the opportunities that cross your path begin to align with the new energy you've cultivated within. The mistake many make is trying to change the external without touching the internal. They rearrange the furniture of their lives, switch jobs, end relationships, chase new goals, without ever questioning the mindset that created the old reality. It's like planting the same seeds in different soil and expecting different flowers to grow. Without tending to the seeds themselves, the results remain the same. Internal change begins with awareness. You have to see the patterns you've been repeating, the beliefs you've inherited, and the habits that silently shape your days. It's uncomfortable work because it forces you to confront the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore, the fear that keeps you from speaking up, the insecurity that pushes you to seek constant validation, the resentment that quietly poisons your joy. But in facing these truths, you reclaim the power to change them. Once awareness is in place, deliberate action must follow. This is where small, consistent changes matter more than grand declarations. You replace self-criticism